Alright, sorry guys. If this shuts down again, I'm going to let that battery charge. It's at 25%, but it keeps shutting down because of low battery. I don't know why. Anyway, once again, since that shut down, I just removed the cross supports here. And I got to make another video note. I thought about painting these red, but I don't show off my engine bay like a lot of other people do. I don't really care if it looks dirty or whatever. Personally, I just don't care. So, make sure this thing's still going. For now, it is at least. It's really annoying having this thing shut down on me. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so one final note on the driver's side, cross support, you'll notice that the transmission shifter cable is actually right up here. This is where it hangs on basically. So there's a little clip or clamp right here. It's plastic. It's fairly easy to get off. You just kind of take it and you just separate it here in the middle. There's a middle part right there, okay? And then that'll separate it. So you can see here exactly how it goes together. You just kind of move it to the side, and then you can unlock it, just like that. My live stream, see how I'm doing? Still going. Good. Okay, battery time. Seven. Seven. I'm just trying to think what all the tools I'm going to need for this in order to disconnect this. This has to be up and out of the way. Try to get a nice high shot here, so it's easy to see everything. That's a 10 under there, or 13, and that's a 10. Alright. First things first. Fuse box. Okay, so now we're going to be removing the battery. It's not too difficult of a job. There's two ways you can do it. You can have a friend help you remove the fuse box or move it out of the way, basically. Hold on to it while you get the battery. Since we're going to be getting rid of the motor anyway, let's just go ahead and get the battery out. Not too bad of a job when you're doing it yourself. First thing we're going to be doing, we're going to remove the fuse box cover. There's a couple of clamps on the outside here that are part of it. Just lift them up. Fuse box cover comes off. And you will see here that we have some bolts that we have to take care of. Deep well sockets. Deep well 13. D12, 13, and 7s. So you're going to need a D12, 13 for this. This is the main battery connect. This runs to the battery, as well as 7mm, as well as a 7mm socket here, because we have 4 of these bolts that actually hold or sandwich together the 2 pieces of the fuse panel. So those have to be moved in order for us to get to the hardware that's underneath. One thing you'll notice is that these actually do not come out all the way. They come out to a certain point and then they stop. You cannot pull these out. They will stay a part of this. So just keep that in mind. If it does hang up, don't try to force it out. It will actually stop, and it has cleared the bottom portion of the fuse box. Now, I will, good safety tip. I will want to, how do I want to say this? Now, an important safety tip here is you can see that I'm getting to this bottom bolt here on the fuse panel. See how close I am to this positive terminal on the battery cable. You see how close I am to the positive, can I fucking talk or what? You can see how close I am to the positive post on the battery, okay? It'd be very easy for you to actually touch these two together and ground this out. That's not something you want to do. So keep in mind that the battery post is right there, and just make sure you keep your hand in between the two. You don't want any accidents. Okay, so now we go ahead and remove this, move it to the side. Then, in order to bring this apart, on the side here are some retainer clips. There's a couple on the other side. There's one on the bottom. They're on the side here. Basically, you can just either take a flathead screwdriver, or you can even use your fingers and just pull them apart, and that'll release these pieces so that you can get at them. You gotta be in front of the camera to do this. Can't see the one underneath. Damn it. Minutes. forgot it's easier to get to this when you have these nuts off. Well, we'll start over. Okay, so now we can go ahead and get rid of these two support posts. These actually just support the entire box or keep it in place. They are 10 millimeter, and that will allow us, they're not 10 millimeter, what is this? It's a 13. We're doing my 10. Oh, jeez. Okay, so now that we have these out, we go ahead and remove the two top nuts that are up here that actually hold the box in place. They are not 10 millimeter. What? Are they 11? I don't remember this. Who was the idiot at General Motors that did that? Everything else is 10, 13, and 15, and 7, and they decided to throw an 11 in there just for shits and giggles. Damn, assholes. I'm running out of time here. Okay, so with these now released, we can go ahead and unsandwich these two pieces, but it's easier if you remove these two top nuts right here, because they actually allow you to move this around to get better access to the sides. So up here we have an unusual 11 millimeter. I already loosened this one up over here on this side, and it's 11. Why, I don't know. So now we can remove this. This will allow us to move this around to get better access to what we need to get at right here. Again, keep in mind the battery post is right there. So try not to have any tools or get any wires underneath here. So I don't know how well you can see that in camera, but we've got some clips here that are on the side. There's one on this side, give you the right side. There's one on the left here, as well as one on the bottom. Those need to be released. A flathead screwdriver is actually the easiest way to get these. You could use your finger if you want. Just wedge it in there and lift up on the box while you're wedging it in there. And that will release the three, just like that. Now, what you need to do is you basically just kind of pull the two pieces apart. And it should release for you. Two on this side. Damn it. Start all over. There's two on this side. I didn't see the top one. You guys having a good laugh? I'll make sure that's all there is up there. Okay, so now we can go ahead and separate the two pieces here, the upper and lower piece of the fuse box. Get rid of that. And get yourself a flathead screwdriver. On the right side here, you'll see two clips that hold the two pieces together. On the left side, there's one up here, and then on the bottom, there's another one. Just use your flathead screwdriver, wedge it in between the two while you're pulling up on the panel, and that'll release it. Do the same thing for all of them. being a pain in the dick today. Why are you doing this? Okay, so once those have been released, you can go ahead and start pulling this apart. Just gently pull apart. You're going to get wires. They're going to be everywhere. And the two pieces should come apart to the point where you can actually remove the lower portion here and get it out of your way. Okay, so there's the lower part right here. Go ahead and get that out of the way. Now then, we're going to go ahead and get the fuse box, now then, we're going to go ahead and get the fuse collection out of the way. And how you do this is you actually have to kind of flip it over a little bit. You may be able to see it, but you've got some connectors. These are main connectors. You got engine connectors, you got your ABS, you've got the interior. All these main connectors here go to the various parts of the car. Those have to be disconnected. They're actually very easy to disconnect. You just kind of take one and you kind of move it, rock it back and forth. Now, if it gets stuck, don't force it out. If it gets stuck, it means that you didn't back out your bolt all the way. So just take it, kind of back it out a little bit more. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They come right out sometimes. Okay? Just like that. Now, you'll do that for the other three. There is no way for you to mess up the order on these. Fortunately, they all have different shapes in some way. So you can't accidentally plug this one in to the middle one or the bottom one or anything else like that. They all have different shapes. So that's good. However, I still mark mine. I know that the top one is for the interior, and then you've got the second one's for the engine harness, and the third one I believe is ABS and interior, fans, things like that. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But you can mark them if you want to, mark them different colors. You can go top, second, bottom, however you want to do it. But they are all different sizes, so it's not possible for you to mess that up. But I still recommend, just to be on the safe side, you can see where I've marked this one already, top. Just to be on the safe side, you can mark that. Just makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to go ahead and get the others out right now. On my live stream. Still live. Good, 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 good. Heat. Ah, damn it. For those of you guys watching live, this is what the fuse box looks like when it's out. Specific to the Ls4, it says LS. These are actually hard to find. I don't know why. There was one time when I was actually looking to get another one of these because I thought that I had one that was burned up. Because there's actually part of this circuit board underneath here is non-serviceable, which is stupid, but that's just the way that it is. So if this goes bad for any reason, you have to replace the whole thing. You can't just open it up and fix it. Ah, shit. That's what I forgot to talk about. Mine came right out, I got lucky, but sometimes it doesn't. Shut. Okay, so one thing I do want to add is that you couldn't see it with me removing it, but you can see here that the main engine harness actually comes in to this point right here, and you see these little tabs that are on the outside. Those actually go to, I don't know how well you can see this part right here. Okay, you can see that there's little grooves here that actually meet up with those two tabs. For me, it just popped right off, but sometimes they don't pop off, so you actually have to get a screwdriver and you just wedge it in underneath here, and that should release it. So, just FYI. Millimeter on the battery bracket. Ah, this power feature is stupid. I wish there was a way to turn it off. Alrighty, so now we need to remove the two 13mm bolts that are holding the battery tray together, actually holding the battery to the tray. You see this bar that's going across here? It actually keeps the battery in place so that when you're doing your hard cornering and whatever, the battery doesn't tip side to side or whatever. So actually pretty easy to get to. This front one here may be a little difficult. You're going to need a short ratchet. You're going to make sure that you're able to reach down in there and grab it. This one's really easy to get to. Yours may be beat up like mine are. I don't know why mine are so beat up. I think the previous owner had somebody install a battery or something and they didn't know what they were doing, so they're pretty beat up, but it should be pretty easy just to remove those two bolts. Check my live stream. Still going. Good, good, good. Okay, so before we get the battery out, we do need to disconnect this ground. Now, grounds are super important in these cars. They will be fickle if you don't get your grounds properly back. So just take note of this particular ground that's right here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it in place so that I don't lose it. There's no need to get a bag for just one bolt. So just leave that in place. Now we can get the wires out of the way. And you can use zip ties if you want to kind of pull these out of the way. For now, I'm just going to bring them back like that. Just enough room to basically be able to reach in there and grab the battery. Now this is super important. You need to make sure that you don't tip this battery. You're going to tip it a little bit when you're getting it out and rocking it out. This is the way that it is, but don't tip it over on its side. Don't shake it back and forth. Don't do any of that kind of stuff. Just take the battery gently, kind of move it over until you have enough room to get it out, and then lift it out. The battery is going to be heavy, so just keep that in mind that you may drop it. So just kind of grab a hold of it. Get this out of the way. Okay, just like that. Now the battery's out. Find a safe spot for this. In fact, I recommend that you put a trickle charger on it, depending on how long you're going to have the motor out. Get yourself a trickle charger to make sure that the battery isn't dead when you put it back in. Okay. With the battery out, I do recommend that you remove the battery tray. Just right here, this bottom part. Actually, the battery tray connects to this bracket as well. These are 10 millimeter. There's 3 of them here. You can see how bad mine is. It needs to be sanded down and it needs to be painted. This is a perfect opportunity to do this while you have the room, while you have everything out. Shit. All right. So if you guys are just joining me right now, I'm live streaming every Monday for you guys to watch me clown around out here. But so every Monday I'm going to be live streaming, and basically I'm removing the engine and transmission. If you haven't seen that before, this is the second time that I've done this. Ah, shit. There's four. Four holding this in. I'm remembering the second time that I had this thing, well, the second time into the transmission shop, because for some reason something went wrong the first time. And I'm remembering driving it down to the transmission shop, the guys who actually did it, and you can force it to start in second gear when you're in tap shift. And I just remember white knuckling it all the way there. It's about a 15-minute drive from here. Let's see what's going on back here. I heard a beep. Oh, still going good. It's about a 15-minute drive taking the back roads. And I just remember thinking to myself, anytime this thing's just going to stop and it's just not going to work anymore, or I'm doing all this damage to the transmission, the clutches are probably fried, you know, that kind of stuff. As it turns out, there was no damage to the transmission at all. Did replace the clutches with Borg Warner clutches because they wanted to be on the safe side. But I just remember the drive down there. Nothing ever goes like you planned it. How bad this is. Oh, that definitely needs to be sandblasted and repainted. If you guys out there in the Lansing, Michigan area know of a place that would sandblast this down for me, and then I can repaint it, I don't care about that, but I just need somebody to sandblast it. If you guys know of anyone who can do that, that would be awesome. pretty rusty down here. Definitely gonna have to clean that out. No doubt about that. Okay. Probably a good time to get the fan shroud. Get the fan shroud out, and then this wire harness is squished in there. I didn't notice that before. That's not good. Yeah, I'll get that later. It's wedged in between the middle radiator hose here and the fender area here. Because we got to drain the radiator fluid. And the only reason I started working on this top part is because it's so difficult to reach some of these clamps. Now I can actually reach this clamp that's right here, so that's easy to get to. So these have to be, or should be, moved out of the way. Alright. Alright guys, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to grab some food real quick. And then I will resume the live stream.